I was one of those guys who would walk up to a big rug and there'd be the truth object sitting on it. And I'd say, get that thing off of there so I can look under the rug for the truth. And this is the kind of guy I was. I was very much like the lion many of you have heard about before. The proud young lion who woke up one morning and he looked into the mirror to comb his mane, and he didn't have to touch it because he looked so good. He was the embodiment of power and truth. And so he struts out of his den, waving to all the ladies. And he goes out into the forest, and he goes down to get a fresh drink of water, a morning drink of water out of the brook. And as he's lapping there, an alligator swimming by. And he goes, Mr. Alligator, who's the king of the forest?
Why, you are, Mr. Lion.
You got that right. And he prances off. And he looks up into the trees and he screams up at the monkeys, who's the king of the forest? And the monkey's trembling, you are Mr. Lion, you are Mr. Lion. You got that right. And he sees the python, who's the king of the forest?
You are, Mr. Lion, you are.
And he walks around going to all the animals, asking them, who's king of the forest? Who's king of the forest? And his chest is getting bigger and bigger. His fur and skin can hardly contain it. And they're all puffing him up and answering, you're the king of the forest. You know the truth. You have the right way. There's no power greater than you. And he's like, you got that right, all of you. And then he comes to an open field and he looks off about 50 yards away. There's a giant, enormous elephant with these huge tusks, minding his own business. And the lion prances right up to him, gets right in front of him. Mr. Elephant, who's the king of the forest? Elephant doesn't say a word, looks down on that lion, wraps his trunk around him, bangs him on the ground a few times, poof, 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 knocks him against a tree, sends him rolling across the ground. And he just walks off. I didn't get outside the red line. Now the lion is he's shaken up obviously and bleeding and bruised, and he comes to and he sees the lion in the distance and he's furious. How could this have happened? And he runs as fast as he can. He catches up with that giant elephant, gets right in front of him and says, you didn't have to get so mad because you didn't know the answer. That is modern man. And that is postmodern man. We think we know it all. We think we've got the answer. And God, in His love for us, has created such a marvelous universe that through the gift of science, and I love science. I was an analytical biochemist, an easy life in the lab before I came and did this. And He's given us this universe that points to Him undeniably. And when you look at the proof objectively, with an open mind and open heart, without prejudice, you'll see God. For the first two lessons, today and next week, we're going to look at the fact that this universe was created by God in such a way that it's undeniable that He exists. So today we're just asking this simple question. That's all we're going to do, is approach this question this day. Has everything always existed? All the stuff of the universe, everything, or was everything created? In other words, has just the stuff always been around here? Is it just happenstance and it fell together like this? And here we are gathered in this auditorium talking about it. Or did God design it this way in order